In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my take on the hack that's fairly common, reversing an aquarium pump to make a vacuum pickup tool out of this 10-gallon aquarium pump, this bit of air line from an aquarium, and a Bic pen like this, a round stick pen, and use that to fashion a little vacuum pen like this that uses lure lock dispensing needles for the pickup part of the tool. So the first thing we're going to do is show you how to reverse the aquarium pump. I found that this particular brand, the Tetra brand, is very, very easy to reverse compared to some of them, judging by some of the tutorials that are out there. So this is the smallest one you can get. It's for 10 gallons. I've also done this with some of the larger ones. But in order to reverse this, all we really have to do is open it up and take out a little one-way valve and flip it upside down. And we basically have to take out these two screws. Here's one. There's the other one. Okay. So now we see here there's this little AC motor that moves this little magnet back and forth very rapidly, and that pushes in and out on this bellows. And that actuates this little one-way valve here. And so what we have to do is we basically have to pop off this rubber gasket. Carefully pry up this white plastic piece. Now the trickiest part of this whole thing is to not lose these O-rings. You can see there are these two O-rings, the larger one and the smaller one, and if you lose one of them, you'll find it hard to find a replacement one unless you happen to have an O-ring assortment kit. So you just flip it upside down and put it back in. Like so. Then you have to get the rubber gasket back around, which is a little tricky. It can be, but it's not too bad. I think that's hooked around there. So now we carefully put this back on. Put the screws back in place. Okay. Now, I like to replace this twist tie with a little Velcro cable tie. A little nicer to bundle up the cord with. I like to have one of these little outlet switches so that I can turn it on and off without having to unplug it on the end of it. And then I've got 3 feet of ordinary aquarium line, which I found to be a fairly good length, which I'm just going to press onto this outlet here. That'll probably do for the time being. And let's just see if this will actually work. Plug it in. Yep, a little vacuum there. So these things are really nice and quiet. And they pull enough of a vacuum to be very effective at picking up surface mount components. So that's the first phase. All right, the next thing for us to do is to assemble the vacuum pen, I'm using the tube or the barrel from a Bic round stick pen like this, and I'm using the rubber cushion from a cheap mechanical pencil. This one happens to be from Staples, but I've tried this with a variety of different similar kinds of rubber grips, and a variety of them will work well as long as they fit fairly snugly around this roughly 5mm plastic tube that you get from the Bic pen. So when I designed this, I really had in mind that I wanted to have something that I could hold like a pen, like this, and I found that I wanted the vacuum to normally be on, but I wanted to be able to turn it off if I wanted to drop something. And so rather than just having a hole that I would cover up, I found that if I had to cover up a hole, that kind of, when I moved my finger up and down, that would have a tendency to make me jerk the pen back and forth, and that was not very good with precisely placing parts on a printed circuit board. And so I found these little springy pencil clips that I could use to cover up the hole by default, but then I could also push this little lever down and raise the little ball here and uncover the hole. And so the other thing that I really wanted was to be able to have interchangeable tips, and so I wound up using these little lure lock to barb sort of hose adapters, and makes a really nice little interchangeable tip here. So I'm going to show you how to assemble this, and first thing we're going to do is take the body from the Bic pen. And I've done some pre-processing here, so you don't have to watch me do all of the steps. But what I've done is I've taken one of these little nylon lure lock adapters here, and I basically have kind of forced this into the end, and I've screwed it down so that the threads in here are sort of cut threads into the plastic body here. This plastic is soft enough that the nylon wins in a struggle against the plastic here, And so you can see that the end here is narrowed slightly, and you can see that there is some sort of indentations here, which are basically coming from the threading on the nylon part here. And that allows us to actually interchange these pens and to switch them out if we want to, just by unscrewing them. And this is actually quite a nice airtight seal here. So that's the one end. That the hose from the vacuum pump will fit over this little barb. I've drilled a 2.5 millimeter hole 1.4 inches from the other end here with a number 41 drill bit, which is 96 mils in diameter. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this rubber grip here, and you can see I've punched a 2.5 millimeter hole here, 0.6 inches from this end in this case. And I found that using a little leather punch is much better than using a drill on this, because we want nice smooth edges here, and the punch is going to do a much nicer job at making a smooth hole here than a drill bit would. And the importance of that is that we would like to be able to make a nice seal with the little pencil clip. And so now what we do is we basically put this over top of the barrel of the pen and align those holes. And there's the hole. Okay, so next thing to do is to put the pencil clip on. And the pencil clip is going to be bent a little bit. Actually, I guess I should say something about this. This pencil clip has these three little triangular flaps that have kind of been bent into this ball here, and that's not necessarily going to make a great seal. So what I've done is I've put a little bit of clear heat shrink tubing over the ball to make a nice continuous surface here that is going to basically cover up this hole for us. Okay, so now we get this to go over the body pen here. I just had it. Maybe you'll need a little help here. Let's see. Here we go. And you just want to rotate this so that I get over that hole. Okay, so there's the pencil clip covering up the hole, which has been aligned with a hole in the plastic barrel. Now the last piece is to take a second one of these little nylon lure lock hose line adapters, and what we're going to do is we're going to insert this in the end here, but in order to make a seal we're going to use these number 006 O-rings, and I found that 2 of them makes a really nice stable seal. So what we're going to do is just going to rotate this until they both go in there. And maybe help it out a little bit. And then kind of rotate it until it's seated properly. Okay. And that's that. And now we have a variety of different needles here. This is a 25 gauge needle, this magenta one, and that's good for picking up 0402 components. This purple one is a 21 gauge needle, and it's good for picking up 0603s and maybe 0805s, although I typically use this one, which is an 18 gauge needle for 0805s, and then I use this 14 gauge needle for 1206s, 1210s, SOT 23s, and some small QFN packages. And then I'll use these 14 gauge needles with suction cups on them to pick up larger components like microcontrollers. And I'll show you a demo of that in a little bit. But one good source for getting the suction cups is one of these little inexpensive sort of manual pickup tools that you might find on eBay or AliExpress or Amazon that have this like little rubber bulb here, but they come with some dispensing needles with suction cups on them. So basically what we're going to do to get suction cups is to take the suction cups off these needles and put them on needles that fit with our lure lock. So we just pull these off. Put those aside. And I've got these extra 14 gauge needles. And we can just put them on like so. I found that these are not necessarily all that useful, but these larger, slightly larger sized suction cups are more useful for picking up some of the ICs. You can certainly keep these around. It's a little small. So there you have it. Once you put one of these needles on, if it's not in the right orientation, given how you'd like to hold this, you can just rotate this. This is one of the nice things about having these little O-rings in here to make the seal. You can basically adjust the angle of this bent needle to be what you need it to be, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. So so that's it for assembling the pen. In the next segment, we'll try picking up some small surface mount components with it and see what we can do. Okay, in this last segment, we've now attached the vacuum pen to the air line that's connected to the vacuum pump. I'm going to turn it on. We're going to try to pick up a variety of different surface mount components and put them in this little tray. We're going to start with the 0402 capacitor. We'll do the 0603. Maybe even the 0805. an MSOP. TSOP. Wide body. MSOP. Move up to the next one. SOIC 8 and a wide-bodied SOIC 8. DFN, 28-pin QFN. Not sure if I'm going to be able to pick this one up. This is a 28-pin TSOP. I'm going to need a suction cup for that one. So we'll try this medium-sized suction cup. Let's try the medium-sized suction cup on here. Well, that suction cup is not cooperating. Let's try the bigger size suction cup. These suction cups are not the greatest. Yep, got that one. 64-pin QFN. .64-pin TQFP. Well, that 28-pin TSSOP may be the one that got away. These suction cups may not be the world's best suction cups. Let's see if I can get quickly here a better result with a better suction cup. So these are some more expensive suction cups that I purchased on DigiKey. They're less jagged. Kind of see the difference in the quality. This one's got some jagged edges and it's thicker. Thicker bell, probably slightly more uniform. So we'll see if I can pick up this 28-pin QFN with a better suction cup. And let's try the smaller one. Yeah, no problem. Had some problems with the QFN and the TQFP. So no problem there. If I switch to the bigger clean suction cup, the TQFP is no problem either. So, the moral of the story is that you may get what you pay for with respect to suction cups. So I will leave links in the description to the various sources of all the bits and pieces that I used in making this thing. I'll also include a link to the more expensive suction cups from DigiKey. But there you have it. Thanks for watching.